Happy 2026, anti-book clubbers. Some things never change, like my washing machine is going. I'm probably wearing a sweater that's hair everywhere and bleach stains and holes in it. I'm standing in the pen of my piggies and they're like running all around my feetsies. But I do have a new microphone. I had it on here, but then the sound sounded really weird, so I'm putting it over here where my phone is. So hopefully the sound will be a bit better. That was a present by my dear husband. Thank you, Michael. So yeah, um, this is basically the recap of 2025. At the beginning of 2025, I sort of made a pledge to myself of how much I wanted to read and how many books I wanted to read, which let me just remind you what I said. I want to challenge myself. I want to read even more this year, but I ain't gonna go to 50. So I said 3 books a month. 36 books in all of 2025. Right, so that's what I said. That's what I set out to achieve, which was a lot more than I had achieved the year previously, but I was like, I really want to challenge myself. So let's see how I did. I did do a halfway through video in about June time, so I'm not going to go in depth into those books anymore because I've already done it. I'm going to link that video below so that if you wanted to know more about the books and why I rated them the way I did, you can check those that video below. And I've also now published almost all the videos that I mentioned in that video. So there you go. So as always, that's another thing that will not change probably, although I will try to. I'm most drastically behind with editing and uploading my videos. But anyways, let's get into it and let's see whether I achieved my goal or not. Right, so I'm just gonna run through the first few books until about June when I did my video and just tell you what they were and the rating I gave to them. So I started the year off with Middlesex, which I rated a 2-star because I really didn't like that book and I had really high hopes. And the worst thing is when I have really high hopes for a book and it then really disappoints me. Then I read Gender Games, which was a breath of fresh air, and I loved it. I actually think I read Gender Games before Middlesex. I think I started it in 2024 and then finished in 2025, which was a 5-star read. I loved it. It was great. Loved it so much. Then there was Jailbirds. Jailbirds was a good book, but it did have its issues, so I gave it a 3-star rating. The Nightmare and The Stalker, which were a set of books I had from an author called Lars Kepler, and I rated The Nightmare 3 stars and The Stalker 4 stars. Then I reviewed or read an acting book called Freeing Shakespeare's Voice, which was all about Shakespeare and how to speak Shakespeare, which was a good book, and I rated it 3.5. Then I, on audio, listened to Midnight Library, and I rated that 3.5, I believe. If the ratings are different to what I actually say in the video, please bear with me. Sometimes, your mind changes, your opinions change, and you're like, actually, I've changed my mind. So I think these ratings are firmer than the ratings I did then. I then read a novella from the God Fragment series, which was called Honor Under Moonlight, and that was a 4-star read. Then I read Thursday Murder Club, a very well-known book, but I only rated about 3 stars. Did not like it. Where am I? Then I listened to the audiobook for a book called Changing All Stars, which is a book I still constantly think about. But it wasn't a perfect book, so it only got 4 stars from me. But it is definitely a great book. I would recommend. Then I listened on audio to Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, which got 3.5 from me. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Sorry, Octavia. I then listened to, I did a lot of listening, as you can tell. I discovered audiobooks in this year for me. I'm Glad My Mom Died, by Janet McCurdy, I believe, which was a 5-star read for me. It was amazing. I loved it, like, just out of the water. Great book. The Persians, came next, which was our very first book club book for my newly formed book club. And I rated it 2.5. I didn't really enjoy it. Lots of privileged people being horrible to each other. But then the second book we read on book club was Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. And that was a 5-star read for me. I loved it. It was great. It was all about people dying and crematoriums. No, I really loved it. And then I finished an acting book called Respect for Acting by Uta Hagen, which I rated 3.5 again. I don't rate all my acting books 3.5, as you will see. And then I started a series rereading 5-star reads. So I started with Me and White Supremacy, which is probably a 5-star read for me still. Although obviously not as enlightening the second time through, because I know it all. Then read Cold Moon by Jeffrey Deaver, which was a thriller type thing and was really exciting, but then really disappointing ending. Yellowface is Calling, and it was a 3.5. I then sort of continued reading the 5-star reads, and this is when we are now getting into the books that are not covered in the last video, so I'm going to talk about them in a little bit more detail. So here we go. So yeah, Vanishing Half was the first book I reread. I actually originally gave it 4.5 because I was like, it's not long enough. It needs to be 1,000 pages long. All right, Brooke Bennett. But really, it's extraordinary, and I absolutely love rereading it. And I think I read it right after a book club book I didn't really like, called Enter Ghost, which comes later on the list because I just remembered that I read that first. And I was like, oh wait, so this is what it's like when I love a book, and I'm immediately in it, and I'm just like right there with you. And now I will upload my complete review of the video, but it's basically about two twins who leave their little town of Mallard, where people are basically purposely trying to become lighter and lighter, even though they're black. And it's about one of them living as a white woman and one of them living as a black woman. And it's all about family trauma, intergenerational trauma, LGBTQ issues, racism, domestic abuse. It's just so filled with themes, but it's beautiful and heartbreaking and heartwarming, and I just love this book. Like, if I only had one book to take with me on an island, it might be that one, because it's like just so full of stuff, right? Impossibility and stuff. I just absolutely love it. To then continue my 5-star reads was Bellies, which is about a gay couple, where one partner decides to transition into being a trans woman. Again, I read that years ago. It was actually a book club read for my old book club, my old workplace. And I wouldn't have come across it without my old book club. And this is why I love book club so much. Like, you discover books you would have never read normally. And it's extraordinary. I love it. I love the way it's written. I love the way it portrays this beautiful, beautiful, imperfect relationship, and these two beautiful, beautiful, imperfect people. And oh, I'm gonna cry. I just love it. Highly recommended. And again, I haven't even done my review of that because I only finished it right before I went to the USA. So I'm gonna finish my review of it and upload it probably in 8 months' time. I'll try and be better. I really will. So much time that goes into recording these videos and preparing these videos and editing these videos, like, you don't understand. It's quite extraordinary. So if you have a book talk creator or a booktube creator that you really like, do just send them some love, especially if they send lots and lots of videos and like read lots and lots of books. Like, I don't read that many books. Like, it's a lot of work. It's like a full-time job, right? If you do that many books. So just send them some love and appreciation for what they're doing. Anyways, you will be able to see the full review of that soon. But yeah, safe to say, 5-star read. Read it. It's a beautiful thing. Especially if you want to read more about the trans experience, like read Gender Games and then read Bellies or the other way around. It's beautiful. Um, then, well, that was not then because I've got the order completely wrong. I was just writing books in the order that I sort of remember them, and clearly I got the order all wrong. But I listened to an audiobook as well called Keanu Reeves Does Not Love You, which is all about online romance fraud, and I really like this one. It was a 3.5-star read for me. I really enjoyed sort of the way that the author, whose name I can't remember, but just nodded as on the author, just some horrible author names, talks about like romance fraud and with a lot of compassion, a lot of love for people who fall for online romance frauds. Because it could always be like, how did you even fall for that? But it's easy to judge, isn't it? And there's a reason it is successful. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. Um, I then also, on one of my many, many, many long bus journeys, started listening to Pride and Prejudice. As part of my um, series on classics and wanting to learn more about classics. And obviously, I knew the story quite well. Elizabeth Bennet, Darcy. It's all beautiful. I gave it a 2.5. I didn't really care for it that much. Like, I was just like, I don't like any of these people. Like, they're all sort of horrible. Like, Elizabeth is the worst person. I have greatly enjoyed, though. I've now found myself in a meme space where I come across quite regularly Pride and Prejudice memes, and they are hilarious, and I love it. But yeah, I just like wasn't a big fan. Really wasn't. Um, Sorry. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, best book ever. In fact, what was the movie where I recently saw the woman? Oh, You've Got Mail. Watched it on the plane. And in it, Meg Ryan like really recommends for Tom Hanks' character to read Pride and Prejudice. And I'm like, don't do it, Tom, don't do it. Anyways, I don't like it. Sorry. I then read a book that my husband picked for me in one of my book challenges, which was called Spellslinger, and I gave that 4.5 stars. I loved it. I loved the themes of oppression, colonization, magic, fantasy. Like, it was beautiful, and I think a lot of fantasy books in it. But I don't know, the fantasy genre by itself just is always kind of built around like oppression and like fighting back against the oppressor sort of thing. I'm surprised Trump hasn't like already cancelled all fantasy. But yeah, just loved it. Like, this one was really expressive. Really great. Loved it so much. Really liked the main character and the side characters as well. I thought they were really well done. I then wanted to read another audiobook. I was struggling to find one because all the audiobooks are like romance, romantasy, or like classics that I don't have any interest in reading, but mostly like romance and thrillers. Although a lot of Frida McFadden, and I'm like, a lot of Colleen Hoover. If you're new here, cannot read this book. Just they are constantly just like, why, it makes no. Anyway, um, let's not evolve this into a Colleen Hoover hate video. Anyways, I then read Beach Read, which I saw one of my. It's by Emily Hoover, but it sounds wrong. It is by an Emily though. But I saw it reviewed by one of the booktubers that I really enjoy, and she actually rated this one really highly. So I was like, okay, maybe I don't dislike romance. Maybe I dislike like the way a lot of romance is written. So I tried this one, and I did like it quite a lot. I rated it 3.5. I liked the two main characters; they were quite cute, and the show romance was quite cute, although it devolved a bit into, oh my god. Um, uh, but um, I then read an acting book um, called The Sanford Meisner Approach by an author called Larry Silverberg, which I rated 5 stars. Brilliant book. If you want to know more about the Meisner approach, I haven't uploaded a video for this one yet, but I will. Um, and yeah, if you want to know more about the Meisner approach, about Meisner in general, if you're an actor, just get that book, grab yourself a partner or two, and work through the book. It's extraordinary. It's amazing. Um, very. Um, and then the 25th book on my list is Enter Ghost, which was a book that on the cover, like when you read the back of it, I should love. It's about Palestine. It's about a woman coming back to Palestine. It's a woman taking part in a theater production. It was on my TBR list. It's got all the themes that I love, and I like it. I rated it 3.5, I think. Um, yeah, just couldn't get into it. I had to force myself to read it. Like, and then when I was finishing half after, I was like, oh my god, like when I like a book and I just breeze through it. Like it was hard. I did not enjoy it. It was, yeah, I don't know. I just could not get into it. And actually, a lot of other people from my book club felt the same way. Some people from my book club absolutely loved it, but a lot of other people felt the same as I did. Where it was just can't get into it. Like it's too complicated. There's too many things being touched upon and confusing. Like I've got a full review of it coming. So I then read a very very short book called Murders of Molly Southbourne. I read it because it looked like on Libby I could get all the other books as well. I was like, oh, I could make it like a little series. But turns out I can't. So I only had the first book, which was interesting. It was a very weird book. It's about this girl who's every time she bleeds makes a new clone of herself that's evil and wants to kill her and everybody around her. But it was an interesting premise. I gave it a 3 star, I think. Um, it had some really weird moments, but it was quite compelling to listen to. So yeah. Um, I hold on. Sorry. But I was then told by a colleague of mine when I told her I didn't like Pride and Prejudice. She was like, "Oh, try Persuasion. It's much better." So I then started Persuasion, and it's probably the first book I ever DNF'd. I was like, what? What? Like, with Pride and Prejudice, I at least knew the backstory, so I didn't struggle as much, but with Persuasion, I was just like, I couldn't get into it. It was confusing. I was like, what? Didn't like the people in it. I was like, no, I DNF'd. After I was about 35% through. So it still goes on this. And then read a book called Black Motherhood, which was all about Black motherhood and about medical racism and the experiences of Black mothers. It was a really good book. I really liked it, but it wasn't perfect. There were some issues with it. There was a lot of repetitiveness and a bit of confusion going on because of different points of views that she would use. So only rated about 3 stars in the end. And I've done the full review, which I will upload as soon as I can. And I then started listening to the last audiobook of 2025, which is a long audiobook, which was called Empire World, which was a non-fiction book, which is all about how the British colonized the world and the impact it has had, and some of the historical facts and the current issues with it. It was interesting, but it was too many facts and numbers and things. Like I've seen this sort of topic discussed in, I think, much more interesting ways, with less of a focus on like just churning out lots of numbers and numbers and numbers at you and statistics and stuff. So I only gave it 3 stars in the end. Um, I almost DNF'd it, but then I was like, oh, I'm already 50% of the way through. Oh, fine, I'll continue reading. So yeah, and then I started. I read the second, well, third to last book club book, I suppose, of the year, which was Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I have watched the TV show about Daisy Jones and Six. I wasn't the biggest fan of her, but it was like, okay. But I actually really, really enjoyed Evelyn Hugo. I enjoyed her complexity, and I enjoyed the themes that were raised in the book about old Hollywood. It reminded me of a TV show I had watched, The Last Tycoon, I believe it's called. And I just really enjoyed it. So I rated it 4 stars. Found it really easy to get through. I really enjoyed it. And I was like, yeah, good book. Liked it. Some people didn't like it at all, but I liked it. And my friend, who is usually around with me, she was like, I love this. So I aligned with her again. And then we read for book club 84 Charing Cross Road, which was about a woman in America communicating with a man in London about uh, buying used books from his bookshop, essentially. And it's quite famous. There's a movie made of it. I didn't find it that interesting, couldn't really get into it. I was like, and I rated, I think, 2.5 in the end. I was like, enjoy this. Didn't enjoy this. Not at all. So I started reading Throne of Glass at the same time, because I wanted to reread Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, because people know, if you've been around a while, I do not like A Court of Thorns and Roses. My washing machine is serious at all, really. But I did read Her Throne of Glass almost all the way to the end. I'm missing like the last few books I haven't read. But I did really enjoy it, although she did then she started to dip into romantasy, and I was like, didn't enjoy that. So I will have to see how I feel about the last few books. But up until when I stopped reading, I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed the world building. I enjoyed the characters that were being introduced and created. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. So read this, and will probably read more of that series in 2026. Um, and then I took 3 books with me to the US, which was um, The Party, which was the last book club book of 2025 for my work book club. We read like 6 or 7 books, even though we didn't start until like halfway through the year, so I think that's pretty good. Which is like about, it reminds me a lot of Saltburn. It's about this non-privileged guy who gets a scholarship to like this prestigious boys' school, who then becomes best friends with this super privileged, attractive, popular guy, and then how their lives intertwine, how he tries to like get into his life, and there's some dark secret. I liked it fine. I rated 3 stars. It wasn't surprising. It was easy to read, but I wasn't like enthralled by it. Okay, whatever. I also took uh, The Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime, which I got to when I made a video playing Snake across my bookshelves, which I will be uploading as soon as it's finished. But basically, I got the inspiration from another booktuber. Gavin Reads It All. And he was playing Snake across his bookshelves, and I was like, "Oh, that's a fun thing." And I always like finding random ways of deciding which books I'm gonna read. And I got to a few books and I was like, I don't want to read that book. Don't want to read that book. Can't take that book to the United States. It might go, you're not allowed in. So then I took The Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime. Didn't read it though, so it's not going on the list. Well, I did start reading it, but not until 2020. Allowed. But the last book that I finished, literally on the last day, or the first day of 2026, is called Das Lachen der Hyänen. It's a German book that I did for a German blog, and it was a 1-star read. One of the worst books I've ever read. I would have DNF'd it had I not paid money for it and taken it to the US. It's like one of my books. I was like, ooh, what? Bad book. Not good. So those are my 2025 books. All in all, there are 34, unless I missed a book when I was like reviewing the books that I did until June, then it's 35. But 34. So I didn't fully achieve my goal of reading 36 books this year. But I got really darn close. And suddenly read a lot more books than I did in 2024. So I think overall it's really successful. I also want to do a little bit more of a deep dive into the books. So I read 12 nonfiction books, which is a lot when you think about it, because I used to not read nonfiction at all. I also read 11 audiobooks, which is interesting considering that before 2025 I didn't really ever listen to an audiobook. So I feel like maybe in 2026 audiobooks will be my friend. But it's hard because I cannot find good books on Libby. So that is that. And then also I thought it would be quite interesting to look at like the lowest rated books, which is Das Lachen der Hyänen. Was not good. As well as Middlesex, and then there's a few 2.5, but Middlesex and Das Lachen der Hyänen are probably lowest rated. But I would probably say the worst book for me was Middlesex, because I actually thought it was going to be much better, and it was lauded as being much better than and it was lauded as being much better than what it was in the end. Whereas I didn't have such high expectations for Das Lachen der Hyänen. So I think my worst book of 2025 is Middlesex. My best book, we have a couple of 5-star reads. So there's Gender Games. There is I'm Glad My Mom Died. There is Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. There is Me and White Supremacy, Vanishing Hearth and Belly. And The Sanford Meisner Approach. So those are all the books, which all in all I didn't count this. I should have done that. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7 5-star reads, which is pretty good percentage wise. Although 3 of them I cheated a bit because I reread previous 5-star reads. So I can't really fully take that on. And deciding my best book of 2025, I'm gonna take those out because I had previously already read them, which leaves Gender Games, I'm Glad My Mom Died, If Sanford Meisner Approach, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. Those are the ones that are left. I would probably take out the Sanford Meisner Approach because of acting. I don't think that's quite fair. And then it's between Gender Games, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and I'm Glad My Mom Died. I would say all of these are non-fiction books, by the way. Just saying, my 3 top reads for 2025 are all non-fiction books. But if I had to rate them, I would probably rate number 3 Gender Games, and number 2 I'm Glad My Mom Died, and number 1 Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. And I think Smoke Gets in Your Eyes is my book of 2025 because it made me question my own long held beliefs. It made me open my mind. It made me challenge myself and grow as a person and really think through things. And I love when a book does that. And this book really so interesting and just really made me think about stuff. So yeah, it was very well written. It was very interesting to read, and it was one of the, if not the highest rated book in my book club as well at work. So I think a deserved winner for 2025. Congratulations, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and I'm gonna put the author over here because I cannot remember the author. And now let's think about 2026. Where do we want to go in 2026? I think I will definitely want to challenge myself to read even more books, especially since I discovered audiobooks in 2025. So, but I don't think I can double it. So I doubled it from 24 to 36. Not doubling, 50% more. And I think I'm gonna challenge myself to another increase to 42 books. 42 books is what I'm challenging myself to read in 2026, which is. I dropped my paper with my notes. My guinea pig immediately went. But yes, 42 books, which is 8 more books, which is a lot, really, considering I only read 3 per month. So 42 books. I might not achieve it, but I like challenging myself. So let's see how I do and if I achieve it. But here's the 2026, and I'll be reading 42 books. Do drop in the comments how many books you are planning to read. Did you set yourself a goal for how much you wanted to read this year? And do you have a goal how many you want to read? Or do you just read and see where life takes us? Do you ever look back on all the books you've read and go oh, that was my favorite book of 2025 or whatever? I'd be really interested to hear your experiences and your things, because I never, before doing these videos, I certainly never looked back on the books that I had read. The only time I would look back is if a book just kept popping into my head. But I do find it quite interesting to kind of be those are all the books I read. Wow, amazing! And there's so many non-fiction books and so many audiobooks, and these are my top books and these are my worst books. And yeah, I just find it quite interesting. So let me know how you feel, what you do. I'm quite interested, so drop me a comment and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, and have a wonderful 2026 filled with books and stories and love and meaning and fantasy and imagination.
Are you enjoying that?